Breaking news this morning, Spirit Airlines is shutting down.
Breaking news, Spirit Airlines ceasing operations.
Spirit Airlines is going out of business.
Today, Spirit Airlines is gone. Not bankrupt, not restructuring, not evaluating strategic alternatives. Gone, grounded, finished, effective this morning, the 2nd of May, 2026. Those bright yellow jets aren't going anywhere. And thousands of passengers woke up today with tickets to absolutely nowhere. This is the story of how one of America's most polarizing airlines went from a trucking company in Michigan to changing the way all of us fly to a complete and total shutdown. Buckle up. This one is wild. Here's something that'll blow your mind. Spirit Airlines didn't start as an airline at all. It started in 1964 as Clippert Trucking Company, hauling automotive parts around Michigan. Not exactly the stuff aviation legends are made of. But in 1983, the company pivoted, launching a charter tour operation called Charter One Airlines out of Macomb County, Michigan. Their whole thing? Cheap vacation packages to Atlantic City, Las Vegas, and the Bahamas. They were getting working-class Midwesterners to the slots as cheaply as humanly possible. For nearly a decade, that's all they were, a charter operator. No scheduled flights, no real airline DNA, just leisure packages and turboprops. Then 1992 happened. Charter One got its hands on real jet aircraft, a fleet of McDonnell Douglas DC-9s, and on the 1st of June 1992, they launched their very first scheduled commercial flight, Detroit to Atlantic City. They changed the name to Spirit Airlines, and just like that, a legend was born. The 90s were a chaotic time to be a budget airline. Legacy carriers were massive, fuel was volatile, competition was brutal. But Spirit had one thing going for it. They were ruthlessly cheap to run. By the mid-90s, they were growing fast. Florida routes, New York, Los Angeles. By 1998, over 2.5 million people flew Spirit. Not bad for a company that used to deliver car parts. But it wasn't all smooth skies. In 1994, Spirit overbooked over 1,400 flights, stranding passengers who had paid for their tickets. It was a PR disaster. In 2000, the FAA hit them with fines for safety violations, and in 2010, things got really messy. Spirit's pilots went on strike. The first strike by ALPA represented pilots at a U.S. airline since 2001. Thousands of passengers were stranded. It was pure, unadulterated chaos. But here's where Spirit's story gets genuinely interesting from an aviation standpoint. In 2005, a new CEO named Ben Baldanza took the reins of an airline that was bleeding $70 million per year. And he made a radical call. Spirit was going to become America's first true ultra-low-cost carrier, or ULCC. The idea was simple. Make the base fare almost impossibly cheap, then charge for everything else. Carry-on bags? Fee. Checked bags? Fee. Seat selection? Fee. Printing your boarding pass at the airport? Fee. It was controversial. People hated it. But you know what? It worked. Spirit pioneered the unbundled fare model in America, and whether you love them or hate them, that model forced every major airline to launch their own basic economy fares. The next time you score a cheap American, United, or Delta fare, you can partially thank Spirit for that. By 2019, Spirit was flying 600 daily flights to 72 destinations across the U.S., Latin America, and the Caribbean with an all-Airbus fleet. They were the 7th largest airline in North America. A trucking company from Michigan had become a genuine aviation force. And then the walls started closing in. COVID hit Spirit hard. Like everyone else, they slashed capacity by up to 95%. But unlike legacy carriers with massive cash reserves and government support, Spirit's razor-thin margins left almost no cushion. They lost over $400 million in 2020 alone. They clawed back. They survived, but the industry had changed around them. Consumers were shifting up market. People wanted comfort, perks, reliability. The budget segment was getting squeezed from both ends. Legacy carriers were undercutting Spirit on price with basic economy fares, while offering far better networks and lounges to attract anyone willing to pay a little more. Then came the failed JetBlue merger. Regulators blocked it on antitrust grounds in 2024. That potential lifeline? Gone. Then came the engine crisis. A defect in Pratt & Whitney GTF engines grounded dozens of Spirit's Airbus jets, aircraft they needed flying to generate revenue. Fewer planes meant fewer flights, and fewer flights meant less money. Spirit filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in November 2024. They emerged in early 2025, then filed again in August 2025. 2 bankruptcies in under a year. The writing was on the wall. By early 2026, Spirit's market share had collapsed to under 4% of U.S. passengers and falling fast. Then came the Iran war, and with it a catastrophic spike in jet fuel prices. For an ultra-low-cost carrier whose entire business model depends on cost efficiency, that was a body blow they simply couldn't absorb. Spirit went to the White House. They asked for a $500 million government bailout, and for a moment it looked possible. President Trump signaled support. Negotiations dragged on through Friday, right up to the wire. Bondholders wouldn't play ball, the terms didn't work, the deal collapsed. At 3 a.m. Eastern Time, on the 2nd of May, 2026, Spirit Airlines Association of Flight Attendants sent a message to its 5,000 members. The hardest message they'd ever had to send. Spirit was done. Here's what hits different about this one. 17,000 people lost their jobs overnight. Millions of passengers are stranded or scrambling. And routes that Spirit served, especially in cities like Detroit, Fort Lauderdale, and across Latin America and the Caribbean, are now going to get more expensive for everyone because competition just disappeared. Spirit wasn't glamorous. It wasn't comfortable. People roasted those yellow planes on the internet for years. But love them or hate them, Spirit kept fares honest. They forced the big guys to compete. And now that they're gone, we are all going to feel it at the ticket counter. 33 years. From a trucking company, to a charter operation, to America's ULCC pioneer, to a departure board full of cancellations at airports across North America this morning. And that is the story of Spirit Airlines. If you're new here, welcome to The Plane Window, where we cover aviation the way it deserves to be covered. Drop a comment. Did you ever fly Spirit? What was your experience? I want to hear it. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time on The Plane Window.